Bonjour classe, aujourd'hui on va parler du chapitre 4. Chapitre 4 is all about sports and pastime, les sports et le passe-temps. Donc, aujourd'hui on va parler du chapitre 4.1, which is telling how much we like different things. We've already talked about how much we like and dislike different things. We've talked about it, I think, twice now. However, we're going to be talking more in depth about that, learning a lot of new phrases, adding some words to some phrases that we already know, and we're going to be able to express how we feel about different things a lot more clearly now, more than just I like and I don't like this. I'm going to tell you now that my notes are a little bit out of order. So I have a packet right here with me. And if you are taking notes along with me today, I'm going to try to pause every time we move on and tell you where in your notes you can find it. So you're not sitting there just fumbling around with your packet. So, répétez-moi, tu aimes? Tu aimes? This age-old question that we've had time and time again. We see it now again. It means, do you like this? Tu aimes? Again, we've seen this question lots before. So we are going to start taking notes on the back side of the first page. The back side of the first page, you see you have your same thumbs up and thumbs down there. And it says, telling how much you like and dislike something. If you are taking notes with me, go ahead and write 2M right up here at the top. I'm going to tell you to do this in class, but go ahead and write 2M right up here at the top, s'il vous plaît. So then to respond, first we're going to start off with our positive expressions. Répétez-moi. Oui, j'aime un peu. J'aime beaucoup. J'aime surtout. Oui, mais j'aime mieux. And these little dots is me telling you that whatever you're saying that you're liking, that's where you put it in French. So if I were to say, I like pizza a little. La pizza. We learned that in chapter 1. Oui, j'aime la pizza un peu. If I want to say I like pizza a lot now, j'aime beaucoup la pizza. J'aime surtout la pizza. I especially like pizza. And then oui, mais j'aime mieux les escargots. Yes, but I like escargot better. So again, those little dots there is me telling you where to put in whatever you're saying that you're liking. Moving on to our negative responses. Répétez-moi. Je n'aime pas tellement. Je n'aime pas beaucoup. Je n'aime pas du tout. Je préfère. All right. After that section, moving down on the page, it says placement of these phrases is important. So go ahead and I gave you the English. You have to write down the French for me. Again, now if would be a time where after you finish writing these, if you wanted to highlight them, underline these phrases or these words, highlight, underline, circle them, whatever, that would be both in English and in French. I boldened them for you in English, but if you wanted to still highlight them or circle them, that would be a really good strategy for you, because the placement of these phrases and these words, again, is very important. And in French, they're not always the same as they are in English. And in fact, in English, they're often different, most of the time different than how they are in French. For example, j'aime surtout le foot. J'aime surtout le foot. I especially like soccer. In French, it comes right, this phrase surtout, this word comes right after the verb aimer. Comes right after the verb. However, in English, it comes right before the verb. I especially like soccer. J'aime surtout le foot. J'aime beaucoup le golf. J'aime beaucoup le golf. I like golf a lot. Again, in French, it comes right after the verb. Right after the verb. But in English, it comes after the verb and the noun. I like golf a lot. We wouldn't say I like a lot golf. It doesn't make sense. Je n'aime pas tellement faire de l'aérobic. I don't like doing aerobics too much. Je n'aime pas beaucoup jouer aux cartes. I don't like playing cards a lot. Je n'aime pas du tout le ski. I don't like skiing at all. All right, let's go ahead and review our ER verbs. Again, this is on the same page. Same page. It's going to be right down here at the bottom, though. Reviewing ER verbs. So we have our ER verbs, we have our GER verbs, and then we have avoir. And we're going to be doing a big verb review in the next tab. For now, let's just focus on ER verbs because we are talking about how much we like and how much we don't like certain things. So we need to be able to say we like something using our verb aimer. Remember that all ER verbs, all of them, there's thousands of them. Those verbs ending where the infinitive ends in an ER, they all follow this two-step pattern. If you know this two-step pattern, you can conjugate all of them. What is a two-step pattern? Well, we take the ER off of the infinitive. So, we have our infinitive. Again, our infinitive ends in the ER. And what is an infinitive? It's the to form of the verb because our infinitive means to and then the verb. To like, to dance, to eat, to sleep, to talk on the phone, so on and so forth. It's the to form of the verb. So, to conjugate ER verbs, our first step is to take the ER off of the infinitive. And remind me, what is conjugating? What's conjugating? If you said making the verb agree with the subject, bingo, you're right. Making the verb agree with the subject or the person doing the action. We can't say I be, you be, he be. It makes no sense in French and in English. We have to say I am, you are, he is, she is, so on and so forth. That's conjugating. We're making the verb agree with the subject. So to conjugate these ER verbs, we take the ER off of the infinitive, and then we add our memorized endings. Well, what are our memorized endings? Do you remember them? If you said E-E-S-E, O-N-S, E-Z-E-N-T, again, bingo, you're exactly right. If you don't remember these endings, this is now the third time I believe we're talking about ER verbs. You need to know these 6 endings. You need to know how to conjugate an ER verb. If you don't know how to conjugate an ER verb, 1, we're reviewing it right now. 2, I have this verb song for you right here. It goes through the song. And then also on Google Classroom under the Bienvenue section, so at the very top section, it has a playlist of every single verb that we're going to talk about this year. It has a lesson and the song that we use in class as well. So maybe if it's not me explaining, if it's somebody else explaining, that may help you. Again, however, you need to know how to conjugate these ER verbs. So, as an example, we have MA, which means what? If you said to like, you're exactly right. If you just said like, sorry, you're wrong. We're in the big leagues now. This is, again, the third time we're talking about ER verbs. I'm going to have to start marking people off if they're just putting like. MA does not mean like. It means to like. Remember, the infinitive is the to form of the verb. Aimer, to like. Danser, to dance. Manger, to eat. So on and so forth. All these infinitives, the translations into English, start with the word to, T-O. So our first step, take the ER off of the infinitive. We get M, A-I-M. And then we add our endings. J'aime, tu aimes, il aime, elle aime, on aime. Nous aimons, vous aimez, ils aiment, elles aiment. I like, you like, he likes, she likes, one likes, we like, you plural like, they a group of all guys are mixed like, they a group of all females like. Remember, in English, there are 3 ways to translate these. I just gave you one. I like, you like, he likes. But there are 3 ways to translate any given one of these. For example, let's take j'aime. Let's take j'aime here. Again, 3 ways to translate them in English. I like, I am liking, I do like. J'aime. J'aime. I, and then the verb, conjugated verb to like. J'aime. 2 words in French, 3 different ways to translate it into English. I like, I am liking, I do like. All of these translations in English are summed up into this nice little package in French. 2M. You, singular, you like, you are liking, you do like. Il aime, he likes, he is liking, he does like. Elle aime, she likes, she is liking, she does like. Again, 3 ways in English to translate these. All right, let's go back to the very first page of your packet. Looks something like this. It says Chapitre 4, Première étape, note sheet. And right underneath that, if you notice, it says to play games or sports, jouer à, to do activities in sports, faire de. Let's go ahead and work on our jouer à column. So we're going to talk about this contraction in just a little in just a moment, just a little bit. Just go ahead and take your notes for me, s'il vous plaît. Répétez-moi, jouer au foot, jouer au hockey. Remember that the French don't have this H sound. It's often silent. So it's not jouer au hockey. It's jouer au hockey. Hockey. We don't hear that H. Répétez-moi, jouer au golf, jouer au basket, jouer au football américain, jouer au volley, jouer au tennis, jouer au baseball. It's important that you don't, if you're trying to say you play American football, that we don't just say jouer au football, because they would be thinking of soccer. Remember that for most of the world, football is what we would consider soccer here. This is American football, so you have to say football américain. Also, if you notice, a lot of them are very similar in English as they are in French. Just a little helpful hint. Baseball has that hyphen. Tennis is the same. Volley, pretty much the same. Football américain, pretty much the same. Foot or football, pretty much the same. Hockey, pretty much the same. Is the same. Golf is the same. And then basket, pretty much the same. We have a couple of exceptions. We don't say jouer au for video games and to play cards. These are our plural games, so we're talking about more than one. Répétez-moi, jouer à des jeux vidéo and jouer aux cards. I don't want to hear this X here. It's pronounced just like the English letter O. Jouer aux cards. All right. Going to the front page of the second page, front side of the second page. It says contractions up at the top of your notes. We're going to take these notes. In English, contractions are optional. I do not sleep well and I don't sleep well are both grammatically correct in English. This is a contraction right here, don't. We're taking our 2 words do and not and contracting them together to create don't. Both are fine in English. In French, however, you have to make contractions. They are not optional. You have to make them. It's considered wrong if you don't. Let's see if I can move myself. There we go. So our contractions with contractions. And le become o. And lay becomes o. AUX. And la stays the same. And L apostrophe stays the same. Again, both of these are pronounced O. 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 Le, O. Lay, O. Our contractions with de le becomes do, de lay becomes day, de la and de L apostrophe stay the same. So do and day. do day. So let's go ahead back to our first page of our notes, and let's fill in that fair column. So our first one, fair do ski, to go skiing. Really what we're saying here is fair de le ski, fair de le ski. However, that de and that le, we can't have them. We need to contract them. So we say fair du ski, faire du ski. Faire du jogging. Répétez-moi, faire du jogging. Faire du ski nautique. Faire du ski nautique. That is number 15 for you, to water ski, if you're not familiar. To water ski. Répétez-moi, faire du vélo. Faire du patin à glace. Répétez-moi, faire du relais en ligne. Faire du théâtre. We've seen this théâtre word before. I believe we had it with all of our classes. Remember that the French don't have this TH sound. It's just a T sound. Répétez-moi, théâtre. Théâtre. Faire and then de la or de l'apostrophe. Again, de la and de l'apostrophe stay the same. We don't need to worry about them. Répétez-moi, faire de la natation. Faire de la natation. We had a GER verb when we were talking about GER verbs, which was nager, which meant to swim, nager. This is just another way to say swim, to swim. Faire de la natation. Faire de la vidéo. Faire de l'aérobic. Faire de la photo. And then track and field, répétez-moi, faire de l'athlétisme. Faire de l'athlétisme. Again, de l'apostrophe stays the same. All right, let's go ahead and take a moment to talk about Quebec. If it's the first day of the unit and you're just taking notes on grammar, you can stop here. If we're going to start taking notes about Quebec in class, so please do not move on. However, if we did not finish in class and I assigned this for homework, this is where you can pick up. So, Quebec. The map in your notes is a little bit hard to see. So, if you look closely, this is Michigan, the lower peninsula of Michigan. So we're probably about like right here, maybe a little bit over, probably like right here. So this big white thing is Canada. It goes all the way up to here. And then this is Quebec. So instead of states like the United States, they have provinces and territories. And Quebec is one of the 13 provinces and territories of Canada. As you can tell, it's a beautiful city. So let's go ahead and start taking our notes. 1. Where is Quebec? Quebec is one of the 13 provinces and territories of Canada. Again, please write down everything that is in red for me. What's the capital? Quebec City. And Quebec City is right on here on this river. I know it's hard to see with my cursor, but right here. Why is French an official language there? This is a lot of writing, but again, I please ask you to write all of it. Quebec was claimed by the French explorer Jacques Cartier in 1534. It was founded by Samuel de Champlain in 1608, making it one of the oldest cities in North America. So it was claimed by Jacques Cartier, and France then sent a bunch of French people to settle there, and so French is still spoken there today. What does Quebec mean and where does it come from? The name Quebec comes from one of Canada's First Nations languages, meaning narrowing of a river. If you don't know what a First Nation is, it is similar to how we have Native Americans. Instead of calling them Native Americans because they're Canadian, they call them First Nations. So the original people who lived there. First Nations. So Quebec comes from this word from a First Nations language, meaning narrowing of a river. And again, if you go back to Quebec, there's this big old river and it tends to narrow. So the name makes sense. What's the weather like? Summers are comfortable, but wet. Winters are freezing and snowy. Year-round temperatures usually range from 6 degrees Fahrenheit to 78 degrees Fahrenheit and is rarely below -12 or above 86. Again, you don't have to write that if it's in black, but you can if you want to. What's their favorite treat? It's known as tire de sable, which is boiling maple syrup poured onto shaved ice or even snow to make a sugary snow cone lollipop thing. I have a picture of it on the next slide. And why is Quebec unique? It's a mix of old and new and European and American. So that is tire. They pour it right into the snow or right into the shaved ice, and then they take like a little stick and they kind of twirl it around to make this like frozen lollipop snow cone thing. The national sport is hockey. I don't believe that this is in your notes. No. But cool information nonetheless. So again, we are right in here. And this is the river that we're going to talk about. So what river runs through Quebec? The St. Lawrence River. Again, make sure it's spelled correctly. It's not spelled how we would normally spell it. What is the name of the castle that is now a luxury hotel on the river? And that is Le Château Frontenac. Le Château Frontenac. This is the hotel. Very pretty place, as you can see. And then the next couple slides are just some more information for you. No notes on it, but you may need to know it for a test nonetheless. Le Vieux Quebec is the historical part of the city. I included just a little excerpt from a tourist site about it. It's the only fortified city north of Mexico. If you don't know what fortified means, it means that it's a fortress, so there's walls protecting it. Great architecture treasures, unlike anything outside of Europe. You travel back in time. It's a very pretty and old place. Les Chutes Montmorency is this great waterfall, and then they have what's very pretty, like a gondola type thing, going past this waterfall. And this waterfall, it gets so cold that the entire waterfall freezes over winter, which is very pretty as well. La Grande Allée is a famous shopping district. So it has huge, elegant old houses, century-old stone houses, restaurants and cafes, a shopping district. La Terrasse du Ferrand is a terrace that wraps around the Château Frontenac in Quebec City towards Citadel of Quebec, overlooking the St. Lawrence River. Nice little stroll. La Rue du Trésor is in Old Quebec. Artists exhibit and sell their watercolors, engravings, paintings, and reproductions along La Rue du Trésor, a side street resembling an open-air art gallery. Les Plaines d'Abraham is a historic area within the Battlefields Park. The land is the site of the Battle of Plains of Abraham, which took place on the 13th of September of 1759. So a historical site. Le Quartier Petit Champlain is one of the best shopping streets in Quebec City. It's known for its boutiques and its holiday decorations. Looks something straight out of a Christmas movie, if you ask me. Very pretty. All right, that's all that I have for you today. I hope this video lesson helped you. Au revoir, à bientôt.